Now, we're going to look at how to add or subtract rational expressions. So when we say rational expressions, they are basically fractions with variables in there. So if we look at these two problems, look at this problem right here, and 5 over a, and that is just a fraction, and 3 over b, that is also a fraction. So we're subtracting, the minus sign between them tells us to subtract these two fractions. And if you recall the examples we did, in order to add or subtract fractions, we need to have a common denominator. So we have to focus on the denominator, not the numerators. So we're going to focus on these two and to make sure they match. Now, with numbers, we know how to find the least common multiple or least common denominator. But with the variables, how do we do that? Okay, so A and B, first of all, they're two different letters, so that tells us they may not be the same, so they may not match. So we need to turn A and B into the same variable. And which the answer is AB. Why is that? Because if you have A, you have a B. If you want to use multiplication to turn them into something, the same thing. So of course your A will still be there, because whatever you multiply, A will still be there, and whatever you multiply to B will still be there. So the best way to do is to multiply A by B and B by A. So that way we turn A to AB and B also to AB. So they end up with something equal. The method we learned before of factoring will also work. So if you remember, we could use break down A, and A is not factorable. You cannot really break down A. And so we're going to just write down A equals A. And break down B, we cannot break down B either. And so we're just going to write down B equals B. Just like if I ask you to break down 3, you can't, because 3 is already, it's a prime number. You cannot break down 3. If I ask you to break down 5, you can't either. So you're just going to write down 3 equals 3, 5 equals 5. But of course, most of the time, the numbers we're given, they can be broken down further. But actually, there are a lot of numbers like prime numbers. You cannot really break them down any further. So the same thing. So think of A as like a 3, B as a 5. After you do that, and remember to look for LCD or LCM, we bring down one number from each column. So it's 3 and 5, and multiply them to get 15. So you can see the LCM, if neither of the numbers is factorable, you can literally multiply them 3 times 5. Same thing here. So we are going to bring down one letter, not number anymore, but you can bring down one letter from each column. So there's an A and there's a B, and we multiply A and B, we get AB. The multiplication symbol between A and B can be omitted. Okay, so that tells us, either way, that tells us the LCM is AB. Now, if you understand definition of LCM, which is M means multiple. So multiple, which means you take A, multiply something, you get this. You take B, you multiply something, you get this. Or in the other words, AB contains A. Of course, you can see A is in there. AB also contains B because B is in there. So this is called common multiple. So a multiple must contain, a common multiple must contain everything given, everything. Okay, so here we already know the LCM or LCD is AB. So we're going to turn A to AB. And you can see, how do we turn A to AB? We can multiply the other one, which is B. So that's what we're going to do for the first fraction. We're going to multiply the A by B, but immediately multiply the top by B. So that way we keep the equivalence. Next, for the second fraction, the bottom is B. In order to turn B to AB, we are missing an A. So we're going to multiply by A and immediately multiply the numerator also by A. So this is what we got. I'm going to get rid of that. Already have everything typed. So now notice the bottom after multiplication, AB, BA. And AB and BA are equal, just like 3 times 5 is equal to 5 times 3. So AB, A times B, is the same as B times A. And this is actually called the commutative property of multiplication. So now we're going to put them in the alphabetical order, AB and BA. I'm going to switch them to AB. So now you can see they match. And the numerator, notice one of them is 5 times b. We cannot multiply a number in the letter, so just keep it as 5 times b, 3 times a, 3 times a. Now, once we turn it into the common denominator, we keep the denominator. So AB will stay as AB. But the numerators, we're going to subtract them. So we're going to take top minus top. So 5b minus 3a. This actually is a little easier because with numbers, you actually, if you look at the previous example that we did, you actually have to work out what's negative 12 minus 2. You get negative 14. You do have to work that out because with numbers, you can always add or subtract them. But with the variables, you may not always be able to do that. So for example, 5b minus 3a, we cannot subtract them because they're not the same item. So again, think of b as 5 bananas and a as 3 apples. So 5 bananas minus 3 apples, we cannot subtract them. So you're going to just have to leave the top as 5b minus 3a. So that's the final answer. Now let's look at another example. So the most important thing here is to look for the LCM or LCD. So here we have A, focus on the bottom, A, and 10B. So you can do either way. So how do I turn A and the 10B to the something in common? So of course, if you want to, the LCD or LCM must have A in there. It must also have 10 in here, also have B in there. So you put them together, you get 10AB. So this is probably the quickest way. And so you multiply 10 and A and a 10B. So you get the least common denominator. And when you look at, you can also use factoring. So for example, A, you cannot break down A, and 10B, you can break down 10 as 2 times 5, and B, we cannot break down B. So you bring down one number or letter from each column, and notice that everything is still there. So you're going to have 2 times 5, it's 10, A and B in alphabetical order. So you just get 10AB. So even you use factoring, you're going to end up with the same LCD. So now we're going to turn both of them into 10AB. And notice, how do we turn A into 10AB? So we just need to, because notice we already have A, we just need to multiply A by a 10 and also B. That's going to end up with the 10AB. For 10B, we already have 10, we have B, we're just missing an A. So if I just multiply it by A, I'm going to have 10AB. Okay, so literally you just multiply whatever you are missing. So, or you multiply the other one. So you have A, I multiply by 10B. For the first one, 10B, and also multiply the numerator by 10B. For the second one, I multiply by 3. I'm sorry, not by A, by the other one, and also multiply 3 by A. So now if we look at the denominators, both of them are 10AB. Put the number first and then the variables in the alphabetical order. So we got 10AB and 10AB, they match. So once we get matching denominator, we keep it. 10AB, 10AB, and 10AB stays the same. We're only going to add or subtract the numerators. So when we look at the numerators, we have 50B minus 3A. So we just put them together as 50B minus 3A. Again, we cannot simplify this because 50B means 50 bananas minus 3 apples cannot be subtracted. They're not like terms. So we're just going to leave the answer as this.